What's good, everybody? Happy Thursday. You know, almost the end of the work week. Friday, right around the corner. I hope you guys have great plans for the weekend, barbecues or what have you. Out here, it's going to be pretty warm this weekend. So, find something to do. Concerts, eateries, outdoor eateries. Enjoy yourself. Have a great time, hopefully. Anyway, so, a quick little chat and inside, just an inside conversation between you and us, in regards to dating. And yes, you're at Who Peed in the Dating Pool. Welcome. Never been here before. Welcome. Here we discuss dating. We discuss the dating pool and the problems within the dating pool. We have respectful conversations in regards to how collectively we can improve some of those problems within the dating pool. And that's what we do. We don't blame one side or the other. We come together and we chat. We just talk, in a respectful manner. We find out. We learn. Essentially, that's what we do here. We learn. And the only way we're going to do that is through dialogue and conversation and listening to one another and not pointing the finger. So if we can all do that, then we can definitely accomplish something in regards to this whole dating scene and the improvement that needs to take place. So without further ado, I'm going to discuss today's topic, which is quick. So if you saw Monday's Live, I had Brian and Shayla, two millennials, bright, intelligent individuals who talked about dating in their 20s, what's going on, how social media played a role, how social media doesn't play a role in their particular dating lives. They discussed some of the obstacles that they currently have and how they maneuver around them. And if you watched, you see that they were really bright, both of them, and they had a lot to offer. So I got to speak to Shayla, and we were discussing, we were chatting, and we started talking about a few things. And I thought this might be an interesting little topic to discuss. So when you're going on that date, that first date, that initial date, when you're meeting that person, not necessarily meeting that person for the first time, but the first time that you decided to go take the plunge and go out on that date, that's a big step for a lot of people. If you haven't been dating, or if you have been dating and you just turned off by the experience, but you take that plunge anyway, and you decide to go out with whomever and having a great time and enjoy one another's company. Where are you going? That's another decision that should be made. And we discussed that. So we okay, where's some of the places you should go on a first date, as opposed to some of the places that maybe, you might want to save for a second or third date. So ran down a few places that I believe that are pretty good places to go on the first date. Now, if you out here in the Northeast, don't sleep on this location. Very good location. Central Park, middle of New York City. There's a lot, especially in the summertime. Summer, spring, fall. There's a lot of things to do in Central Park. You can eat in Central Park. You can go to the zoo at Central Park. You can sit by the water at Central Park. You can sit and just walk Central Park. There's trails for days. And through that time, you have nothing else to do but learn about one another, chat, talk, discuss things, If by chance, now, this is not a rule, but this may be something that maybe you might want to keep your antennas up. But by chance, if you go on this date and you're at Central Park and you're unable to have a conversation and that spark isn't there, that might be somewhat of a yellow flag. We won't call it a red flag because some people are shy during the first meeting. So we won't call it a red flag. But it could be a yellow flag, especially if you're someone who likes to engage. And if you enjoy conversation and that's not occurring in that setting, you might want to give it another shot. in a different setting. Maybe the second time they may be more comfortable with you, but you know, that could be something that you might want to take into consideration. But again, Central Park in the summertime is awesome. You know, for those of you who live out in this area, you know, it's a lot. It's beautiful. You know, man, you want to take your lady out, take her for a walk. Then maybe afterwards you can get a bite to eat or something. Another place that I think is a great place for a first date, especially if you two have interest, these type of interests, is museums. New York City, plenty of museums. One reason I say museum is because even if you two don't necessarily have anything to talk about initially, because maybe both of you are shy, they're giving you subject matter at the museum. Some of the art, the sculpture, the history of the artist, what inspired them. You can have some debates. What do you think inspired? What do you think this art means? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to me? Does it mean anything? Does it look silly? Is it beautiful? You're in a position where the atmosphere can spark the conversation. And then maybe once that conversation is sparked, you can go on from there. And then possibly that can maybe lead it to a deeper conversation. This is something worth considering. Because not everybody's super chatty. But super chatty people need dates too. You know, excuse me, people who aren't super chatty need dates too, you know. So this might be somewhere that you might consider. Just a possibility. Lounges. Now let me preference this by saying lounges that aren't super loud. Some lounges are quiet. They're meant to engage with other individuals. You know, they're not super loud. The music is low enough where you can have a conversation without screaming at one another. And you can chat under a nice setting. Maybe you like jazz. Maybe you like more of a more of a hypnotic type sound. Whatever the sound, whatever you're looking for. But a lounge setting where you may have drinks, you get to chat in a setting where sometimes in lounges people tend to dress up. So maybe you go to this location, you might look a little fancy, you might look a little sexy, you know, you might put on that dress or that top that may show a little bit of skin, or fellas may wear the fitted shirt or whatever, you know. It's a setting where you might be able to look a little bit more spiffed up than you would ordinarily look, at least at the park. So first date, that might not be a bad idea. You get to set a good example physically. You get to set a good example physically. You get to spark conversation. You know, if you guys drink, you can have a few drinks. Something worth considering. Dinner, or lunch, or brunch, or what have you. We've had a lot of debate on dinner. And I'm sure you've seen these debates elsewhere. Like, where do you go for dinner? Or where do you go for lunch? Price point. Now, ladies don't like to hear that. I know. I get it. Nobody wants to be on a cheap date. I get it. But at the same time, fellas, this is the first date. And I understand first impressions are important. They are important. So you need to be mindful of where you decide to go on this first date in regards to eating. You know? Don't stretch yourself. Go somewhere that you know you can afford. Because this date may not go well. Some dates don't go well. This date may not go well. It may go great. However, either way, you want to be in a position where you're not stretching yourself. You want to do what you can afford. So if she orders the most expensive thing on the menu, okay, it's not going to break you. Now, if she orders the most expensive thing on the menu, that might be something that might be somewhat of a yellow flag. Maybe, maybe not, depending on the circumstance. But as something, these are things that allow you to learn a little bit more. During dinner, you get to chat. Don't chat with your mouth open, fellas. Women hate that. But in between swallows, chat a little bit. Talk about yourself. Ask her about herself more, fellas. Ladies, ask him about himself. Don't be so willing to talk about yourself so much. Find out about the other person, because you already know who you are. You know everything about you. Last thing, you need to talk about yourself more, just to hear yourself chat about you. You want to learn about the other person. So chat about that other person. Find out what they're about. Get more information, you know? So those are 4 of the places that I think are good places that I think are first date approved, in my opinion. Now I want to go a few places that I think maybe you should avoid. The movies. I'm a movie buff. I haven't been in the movies maybe about 2 weeks. So around that. Maybe going on 3 weeks. I don't know. So it's been a while for me. But I like to go into the movies. I enjoy the movies, the movie experience. I enjoy the big screen. I enjoy the sound. I enjoy some of the films that come out. I really like the whole movie scene. That's just me. So I go to the movies often. However, for the first date, the movie's probably not the best idea, because when you go to the movies, at the beginning of the movie, they usually run this piece that tells you, shh, be quiet. Don't talk during the movie. Don't chat. Don't do this. Don't. There's a lot of don'ts when you go to the movies. So, is that the place where you really want to have your first date, in the movies? If you can't talk and you can't communicate and you're just watching a movie, at least in a museum, you're watching things, but during that process, you get to communicate with the individual. You get to talk to her. The movie, you can't talk about, you can. A lot of people are going to be pissed with you. So that's probably not the best place, because you're trying to learn more about the individual. Unless you have a plan after the movie, then movie's probably not the place. Now, granted, after that first, second, third, fourth date, go to the movies, enjoy. You know, but you learned a little bit about each other prior to that 4th time going to the movies. That's just a suggestion. Clubs, loud clubs. Now, let me be transparent here. When I was younger, I was in the club scene a lot. I stayed in the club scene. My people, they'll attest to that. I spent a lot of time in the club scene. I met a lot of ladies in clubs. And I started thinking about it, like, wow, I met a lot of women in clubs when I was young. I spent a lot of time in the clubs. That's where you meet people. That's where I was. They weren't first dates, but probably not the best place to go and meet someone or date someone, or well, let me prep. It depends on what you're looking for. Now, the good thing about a club is, more than likely, you're going to see them in their best physical light, because they're going to go to the club. They're going to get fresh. You know what I mean? They're going to look drip, the whole nine. They're going to be all right. Women, you're going to see them looking really nice. So the positive about the club is you're going to see that person in their best light. The fellas, they're probably going to look their best too. They're going to have on, whatever gear that they think is appealing. So in that regard, the club for a first date is a positive. But how you're not really communicating. I leave the club with my ears ringing half the time. Well, I can't hang like I used to. Well, back in the days, I used to leave the club with my ears ringing. You're not really talking. You can talk, hey, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, where you from? All right, cool. Let me get your number. Slide your number over, and that's it. Not much communication. You're not learning much about the other individual in the club. As a first date, maybe you like to dance, and so maybe that might work for you. You two are really dancers. But what if one is a dancer and the other one is not? Doesn't mean that you guys aren't compatible. It just means that that's probably not the setting for you to have your first date. That's just my opinion. Concerts. I love concerts. I mean, I haven't been to a concert since, probably last year, maybe. I'm not sure. Love concerts. Like going to a show. Last year, exactly. Last year was the last time I went to a concert, last summer. So I haven't been to a concert in a long time. I haven't seen anyone perform in a minute. I love concerts. I love seeing live performances. However, sometimes that might not be the best place for a first date. Fellas, it may not be. Because, again, the communication aspect of a first date is important. Now, I get the whole idea of experience. So some concerts are an awesome experience. And you can have that experience. It may not be on the first date, though. Maybe on the second, third, fourth date. But you want to communicate. You want to have some level of communication during that first date. So, if you're not communicating, I don't know how effective your first date may be. It could be, because maybe just the physical element of you may be enough for the other person to be like, wow, I just want to be around them again because I like the way they look. I like the way they smell. I like the way they walk, they swag. That might be enough. Might. Keyword being might. So we want something that's going to be a little bit more sure. We want you to show who you are, your personality and so forth. We want you to present yourself in your best light, not just physically, intellectually. It's a good move for your first date. Now, fellas, y'all not gonna like this last one. But it's not a good idea for a first date. And me, I love this probably as much as anything. I love it. Sporting events. I get to go at NFL games, Major League games, NBA games, boxing, what? Boxing events. I love it. It's up there, like one or two of one of my favorite things to do. However, it's not probably the best place for the first date. Again, sporting events are loud. Are you really getting to know the person in an event that's that loud? People are rowdy. They acting up. Out here, you're a Yankee fan. I don't know if I've been to more than one or two games where there wasn't a fight at a Yankee game. That's what happens. But, great place to go. Probably not the first date. So, those are some of my opinions and viewpoints on where you should go on that first date, because that first date is important often. It's not necessarily game changing in a way, bad or negative or positive, but it sets the example. It sets an example. It sets the mood, so to speak, going forward. And you want to set a good example on the first date. Another thing quickly that we discussed is, what should you wear on that first date? I don't know. Sometimes it depends on what message are you trying to send. Ladies, what are you wearing on your first date? Are you wearing something conservative because you want to send that message that, you know what? Listen, I'm a lady. A conservative lady. Or you jazzing it up a little bit? Are you dressing a little sexy? Are you willing to show a little cleavage? little arm, a little leg, a little shoulder, back? Or is that something you save for the second date or the third date? Maybe the fourth or fifth date? Fellas, how you dressing? Are you throwing on jeans and kicks? Or are you gonna throw on some chinos, some shoes, button up? What message are you trying to send? Casual? I don't know. Let me know. Put it in the comments. Let me know. What are you wearing on the first date? Where are you going on the first date? And let me know how it worked out for you. That'd be dope if you send it in a messenger. Send it in a messenger. Let me know. I'm curious. Some of these first date experiences, how they went for you. Anyway, I'm about to go in the gym, get this workout on. I just want to shout you out for a minute. And all the people that checked us out Monday, much love. I appreciate the support. And shout out to Brian and Shayla and everybody else who's been on Repeating the Dating Pool. We appreciate you greatly. I mean, you make this show work or not work. And so far it's been working. So because we need you guys to come on, and we definitely appreciate you all, and much love to all of you. And have a great Thursday. And Monday we will be back on with another guest, and I'm excited. All right, peace out. One.